Hi guys, the plan tonight is to try and convert this wooden kit into a radio controlled car. Now I'm not trying to make it into a high speed racing car, I just want to be able to control it remotely, give it steering and give it a motor. So don't intend it to go fast, I just want to be able to make it go backwards and forwards and turn. Now putting a motor in it should be fairly straightforward. If I cut these bits of wood off and just have a axle tube straight across, I want to retain these wooden wheels. It's not going to be practical as far as a wheel goes, but it'll look right because that's what the kit is at the moment. So if we can keep the wooden wheels and just make them rotate, then that'll be fine. I should be able to find the centre fairly easily, and then I could even use barbecue skewers as the axles. Again, that would look right because it's wooden all the way through, or bamboo. And put some sort of gear or pulley in the middle there somewhere. Have that all up inside. Steering's going to be a bit more of a task, trying to work that out. Just want that to freewheel, so I'll have to put a tube in there or something so that the axle stays in place. Needs to be a stub axle. We need some sort of vertical component so we can turn it, and we also need a T-piece or an arm coming out, a lever arm, so we can actually turn it. So I'm going to have a look at that, see what I can do. First stage is to fill the slot in here that the wooden stub went into. I've used a couple of bits of barbecue skewer just going across these two formers, so that leaves me a gap in the middle that an ordinary barbecue skewer will allow the wheel to spin on. So that's the first step. Now I need to put something on this end of it to stop it sliding out, and on this end of it to stop it sliding in. I need to space it a little bit because otherwise these formers here will actually catch on the inside, and I need to glue it to something vertical so it can turn that way. I think I'll do it all out of barbecue skewers or something similar, bits of plywood, so just to keep the looks right, although I'm not quite sure how we're going to do the steering push rods yet. I've cut a little piece of wood to cap the end when it's inside the wheel, stop it sliding out, and then I found this bit of plastic tubing that I'm going to put on this end to give us a bit of space so we don't get these sticky out bits fouling the bodywork. What I need to do now is cut that off and then put a vertical piece, up like that, T-shape. Just see if we can get a shot of this. That's our T-piece for the stub axle. Managed to get my little bit of wood on the end of the axle in there to stop it sliding that way. So now we've got to figure out some way of pivoting it. Just using some of the scrap plywood left from the original build to give myself the pivot points. Just going to go through there. This is the scrap I'm using. I've drilled the holes first and then I'll trim them to the right size. Coming along, I need to put a lever on the top there so we can steer it, and a little stopper on the bottom to stop it sliding right out, which it can at the moment. That's both sides pivoting, or stub axles, whatever you want to call them. So now I need to put a little stopper on the bottom to stop the bottom sliding out, and put a lever or something on the top so we can push it with a servo hidden under there. We now need a push rod to join that together and stick a servo in there. That's where the servo is going to go. I was quite surprised there wasn't really enough room for the servo in there, so I've actually had to cut a hole in the bottom and let it stick out below a bit. So I'll hot glue that in place, then I'll probably bend up a paper clip or something to go across there, or I've got some bendable wire. Servo in place, got it rigged up to a servo tester, ESC LiPo battery. So we have steering. Like I say, this isn't going to be a racing car, it's not going to be fast or anything, I just want to see it realistically moving. These joints here, they're just little T-joints. They're not going to be very strong, they're just super glue and barbecue skewers edge to edge. But we might get it to drive along eventually. Got to do the back end now. Put a motor in it and an axle. I might make that the second episode.